In this video, we're going to do a readout of the page Syringoma Peels for Home Use. Syringoma removal using peels at home. As we have seen, TCA is the preferred peel option for syringoma removal in cosmetic clinics, alongside lasers, electrodesiccation or electrofulguration equipment. The main reason for preferring these methods is generally the excellent results of these cosmetic procedures within one session. However, when it comes to syringoma removal at home, the game changes because it is possible to apply the peel at regular intervals until complete removal. And this is key. This is absolutely key. The main advantage of you taking control of your syringoma removal process is phenomenal, because all of a sudden, if you purchase one of these tools, one of these cosmetic peels, in order to remove your syringoma, all of a sudden you can actually use them as many times as necessary in order to flatten your syringoma. Something inconceivable in cosmetic clinics. I wouldn't say inconceivable if you've got loads of money and you don't mind paying $1,000, $2,000 US dollars a month, every time you've got to do a syringoma treatment, then that's fine. But if you're just an ordinary person, the very best option you can think of is the use of specialized peels for home use. And one of the main advantages of it is that you can use them as many times as you decide, and pretty much by following the instructions of the specialized cosmetic peels, pretty much when you deem it necessary for zero cost, because the only cost that you incur is the cost when you purchase the product. And if you buy TCA is very easily accessible online. You can buy it online from many sources, and it's quite inexpensive. So once you buy it, it's there for you to use pretty much as many times as you want. So it's an extreme advantage and is a game changer in the removal of syringoma, if and only if you want to be in control of your syringoma removal process, and you want to really, and you're on a tight budget and you don't want to spend and you do not want to spend thousands of dollars in order to deal with this problem. So there is no rush at all. So basically, with this solution, cosmetic peels at home, you can actually do it in your own time. Therefore, milder peels like glycolic acid or mandelic acid allow removal in stages. And this applies, of course, you can actually either use TCA or other type of cosmetic peels, but you'll find that other types of cosmetic peels are not going to be as effective in the same liquid format as TCA. TCA is the best for home use. So because there's no other peels that are made that we know of for this particular skin problem, other than, of course, the sun remover and other ad hoc products. Why use peels at home? The main problem associated with syringoma removal in cosmetic clinics is that only are they expensive, but it's not only that they are expensive, but syringoma recurrence dictates that in some cases these cosmetic treatments should be repeated periodically in order to maintain good cosmetic results by keeping the recurrent syringomas at bay. So, and this is true. So if the clinic, especially the clinic, does not really know how to do it properly, then when they flatten the syringoma, a few weeks later they're going to be back with vengeance anyway. So you have to repeat the process if you want to do anything. And that's going to cost you, again, very likely. because as we have seen, Syringoma, once removed, can return, and in some cases, they seem to turn into a chronic condition. What we mean here is that no matter how they are treated, Syringomas may keep recurring after removal. This can happen as well. Therefore, the option of home removal cosmetic treatments is very convenient, especially for those who have tried lasers, TCA, and other treatments, having experienced subsequent recurrence problem. So basically, and then many of our customers have used lasers and other treatment in clinics, and they're fed up with the fact that they've got to go through them over and over again and paid thousands after thousands, and still they're seeing the Syringoma come back. The best cosmetic peel solution we have found for home Syringoma removal is the use of glycolic and mandelic acid in a gel formulation. However, you can also use TCA. We have moved away from the option of using TCA because, although very effective, TCA is not very easy to control. Said that, you can actually, many people have used it very successfully, and it's quite inexpensive, and you can find them online very, very easily. In other words, it is not easy to control the chemical ablative effect of TCA without some form of training. And that's true. Basically, TCA is kind of difficult to control, and sometimes it does require a bit of training. It's not the easiest peel to use. This does not take away the safety of TCA, of course, and especially the efficacy of TCA in removing your Syringoma. Additionally, TCA has a very strong chemical peel, and as a consequence of its application, swelling often occurs 1 or 2 days after use. Swelling normally subsides 3 to 4 days after the application. However, swelling is not a pleasant experience to have at home, and who are people unfamiliar with its effects can easily become worried, and those people who are unfamiliar with its effects, this swelling, can easily become worried. Also, TCA causes more hypopigmentation on skin type 5 and 6, the dark skin types. So, and this is a big problem, because if you're of the darkest skin types and you've got hypopigmentation very likely is for good. You may not recover from hypopigmentation. Hypopigmentation meaning when the area where you applied TCA, after you applied it, becomes whiter than the rest of the of your skin. That can be permanent. For home use, other peels are preferred, i.e. mandelic, pyruvic, and glycolic acid. This is because the ablating effects of these peels can be stopped by simply wiping the gel off if they're made in a gel format, which is the best thing, and rinsing with water. This has been corroborated not only by scientific studies but also by our own experience with this type of peels. For this reason, their cosmetic ablation effects are easily controllable and therefore deemed more suitable for home removal. Moreover, swelling does not always occur after the use of these types of cosmetic peels, and therefore it is a huge advantage versus TCA for home use. The product we use in the syrin remover is a thick gel formulation for two main reasons: to avoid drips formation during the application, which always comes in handy when removing lesions. Also, a gel formulation allows lower pill concentration to have similar effects of much stronger solutions, and that's true because the thickness of the gel also increases the power, the ablation, the ablative power of the product. So you can actually use not as strong formulations. Both mandelic and glycolic acid are very stable in a gel format, in a gel formulation, and therefore last long, minimum 12 months shelf life in a gel-like formulation. TCA does not last long in a gel formulation. Usually a maximum 6 months from production, and that's true. This is one of the problems we had at the beginning when we tried TCA for this type of products. Basically, by the time being on the shelf for a while and we sold it, then arrived as a liquid. Concentrations. The concentration of these POs for home use should be between 70 and 95% glycolic acid gel plus mild ingredients. What we mean by mild ingredients is we mean that we regulate the pH, because if we don't regulate the pH, we're talking about a pH of 0.000. I mean, very, very acid product. 75 to 100% of mandelic acid used plus mild ingredients. Pyruvic acid 50 to 80% concentration plus mild ingredients. If the concentration are too low, the ablative effect will be too mild at the product user, and the product user will quickly become frustrated at the lack of results. On the other hand, if the concentration of these POs is too high and without mild ingredients, the formulation could result too aggressive. This could result in excessive swelling, overablation, which could subsequently result in scarring if used recklessly. The fact that the PO is formulated in a thick gel consistency also adds to the advantage that the active PO, mandelic pyruvic glycolic acid, remains effective over time. Remember that the home formulation should be applied in 2 to 3 weeks intervals, because every time the gel is applied, the area should be left to recover before reapplying. Basically, what happens is when you apply it and you've got the scabbing effect, and you cannot actually apply immediately during the scabbing effect, you've got to wait that the scabs fall off on their own accord. To summarize, the disadvantage of using milder formulation at home is that multiple applications may be required to achieve the desired effects. However, mild pills used at home present an added advantage that they can be used in complete comfort at home and safety, I should say. This is why, although TCA is really strong, we move away from it, because the glycolic acid is much more, it's much safer than than TCA, and achieves the same results. But it may take just slightly more applications, depending on how long you keep the gel on for. Aftercare. The aftercare is minimal after this type of procedure, although the risks of infections are very low. After the superficial cosmetic procedure, it is advisable to instruct the client, the consumer, to apply the appropriate antiseptic cream twice a day. This is actually not true, because this is just a disclaimer that we put there, because basically there hasn't been any reports of infections after the use of this type of products for home use. This will drastically reduce even further risks of mild infections. In order to reduce the risks of hyperpigmentation, sunscreen must be worn daily for at least 3 months after the last treatment, and sun exposure avoided like a vampire. So this is all for this video. If you've got syringoma, remember that you do not have to spend thousands of dollars, and you do not even need to go to the cosmetic clinics in order to have them removed. There's so many options available, and at syringomaremoval.com we explain all the options on our website. And then if there's something you'd like to know which you haven't explained on our website, feel free to get in touch with us. Many thanks for watching. In this video, we're going to perform a readout of the page called Syringoma Removal Using Peels. Syringoma Removal Using Peels. One of the options for syringoma removal is the use of peels. Cosmetic peels are a very good option because not only are they very effective, but also easily available on the market, and they are not classed as medicines. This is very important because although resolving this problem, the syringoma problem, is a very important thing, therefore people may actually make the argument that it's a medical treatment. It is actually not. Especially in Europe, it's not classed as a medical treatment because syringoma are not a medical condition, because they're not a disease as such. So you can actually live with syringoma without having any repercussion to your lifestyle, other than the sort of embarrassment that can actually cause to some people. So basically, also the other thing is glycolic acid, TCA, everything that is effective for the removing syringoma is not classed as a medical device, neither is it classed as a medicine. So we are okay, and they're easily available in the market, so it's not tightly regulated, thank God. In order to remove syringoma within a useful time frame and a few numbers of sessions, usually the concentrations used start from 40% and above. Concentration TCA. The concentration used vary according to the type of peels used, whether it is TCA glycolic, mandelic acid, pyruvic acid, etc., and whether the formulation comes in a gel or fluid solution. How are syringomas removed using peels? When using peels for syringoma removal, we are applying a chemical ablation. One difference between a chemical ablation and the ablation by vaporization, i.e. electrofulguration or laser removal, is that the real effects of the chemical ablation are not immediate and kick in a couple of days after the application of the peel. Therefore, with chemical ablation, the ablative effect of on the syringoma are similar to those of lasers or other cosmetic equipment, and for this reason the results are similar or the same, but just the methodology, the way you're actually burning the syringoma is different. When we're using peeling is chemical, when you're using electrofulguration, electrical arcing, or lasers is by using either electricity or light. However, often cosmetic clinics promote lasers or electrofulguration equipment as the best option for syringoma removal. The real reasons are twofold. The higher perceived value associated to laser treatment and other cosmetic equipment in general, and the syringomas can be removed in one session by using lasers. However, the use of peels for syringoma removal present their advantages over the use of cosmetic lasers and other equipment. So basically, in a cosmetic clinic, the best options for cosmetic clinics is either using lasers or electrofulguration equipment or electrical arcing equipment. Not many clinics nowadays are using TCA, however there are some still using it, but not many are using it. The reason is with TCA you may require multiple sessions multiple treatments in order to achieve the results you want, whereas with lasers, if you know how to use them properly, and electrofulguration or arcing equipment, voltaic arcing equipment or plasma devices, again, if you know how to use them properly, you can do it within one session. What advantages using peels versus electrofulguration and laser? What are the advantages of using peels versus electrofulguration and laser removal? Laser and electrofulguration removal are the preferred option in cosmetic clinics for syringoma removal because they allow quick removal. As usually, one session will suffice to level off the syringoma and achieve the desired results. Mind you, just leveling off the syringoma is not enough because otherwise they're going to be back with vengeance within 10 days after the treatment. Also, the perceived added value of cosmetic procedures carried out by using cosmetic lasers dictate the high price and are quite profitable to the clinics. Indeed, if you actually get them removed by using lasers, you can expect a big bill. However, these high prices really worth it compared to the use of specialized peels for syringoma removal at home, I'd say. Let's watch the video on the left hand side to know what are the advantages of using peels versus electrofulguration and laser removal. What are the disadvantages of using peels? Leaving the problem of syringoma recurrence aside, the main disadvantage of using specialized cosmetic peels for syringoma removal is that it is not often possible to achieve the same results possible with the use of cosmetic lasers or electrofulguration equipment within one session. By using specialized peels, more than one session may be required in order to achieve similar cosmetic results, which can be achieved with laser in one session only. The need to split the treatment into various sessions can be seen as a disadvantage from the cosmetic clinic's point of view. And this is the main reason for TCA being the preferred option in cosmetic clinics. Now, what are the advantages of using peels? Less likelihood of scarring because the outcome of the cosmetic treatment is less dependent on the esthetician or beautician ability in using cosmetic equipment, as it is in the case of lasers. Actually, lasers do require a great degree of training, and electrofulguration equipment, especially with the latest devices, you require very little training anyway. However, we have made the resources for those training anyway. It's free of charge. After all, when using cosmetic lasers or electrofulguration equipment, the results are more dependent on the user. No need for anesthetics because the treatment is virtually pain-free. Some burning sensation may be experienced at the beginning of the treatment. However, this will subside within 5 minutes, and it is bearable to most people. Depending on the type of peel used, the burning stinging sensation can last longer. Treatment by using peels is generally more cost effective because cosmetic peels are easily available on the market, and generally they are not heavily regulated, thank God. This means that even if syringoma will recur at a later stage, they can be removed again safely and inexpensively by using specialized peels for syringoma removal. This is why specialized cosmetic peels for syringoma removal are a game changer. Because all of a sudden you don't have to spend thousands of dollars with cosmetic clinics. If you want to do it, you still can spend thousands of dollars, but it's not needed. By using certain formulations, syringoma removal can be even done safely at home in multiple sessions or even in one session only. What types of peel can be used for syringoma removal? Generally, the preferred option for syringoma removal are bicrolacetic acid BCA or trichloroacetic acid. These are the preferred peels in beauty clinics because they are generally very effective and strong. It is possible to remove syringoma in 1 or 2 sessions only by using strong enough concentrations: glycolic acid, pyruvic acid, mandelic acid. The last 3 options are milder alternatives, and they are seldom used in cosmetic clinics because it is usually required more than 1 session to obtain the desired good cosmetic results. Basically, in those cosmetic clinics that are still used, they tend to more use TCA, not the other ones, because TCA is far more effective. But nowadays, TCA for this application is very rarely used in cosmetic clinics. However, these types of, especially because now there's electrofulguration devices which are quite easily available and easy to use as well. So there's less and less need in order to use TCA in cosmetic clinics. However, these types of peels are far less aggressive than TCA, and hence this type of peels is glycolic, pyruvic, and mandelic acid. However, these type of peels are less aggressive than TCA, and hence, therefore, more suitable for home use. Note that using certain concentration incorrectly without certain milder ingredients and in fluid solution could cause scarring if misused, maybe. Aftercare. The aftercare is minimal after this type of procedure, although the risks of infection are very low and so on. We already seen in other pages. Basically, you have to use, once the scab fall off, you've got to use for at least 3 months after the treatment sunblock, and even then avoid sun exposure as much as you possibly can. Just become a vampire during that period of time. So this is all for this video. Remember, if you've got syringoma, it's not the end of the world. You can get them removed by using TCA and other products. It's not that expensive. You'll find far more information on our website, syringomaremoval.com, and should you not find the information you're looking for, get in touch and we'll be happy to help you. In this video, we're going to do a readout of the frequently asked questions about syringoma removal. So, how can I avoid hyperpigmentation? Hyperpigmentation is a rare occurrence after syringoma removal. However, it can happen. This normally happens when the cosmetic treatment has been carried out in the hot season and the customer has been exposed in the sun without wearing sunscreen. However, it is possible that you wear total sunscreen and you still get hyperpigmentation. This happens, so be careful. The ideal, in order to minimize the likelihood of hyperpigmentation, what you've got to do is just be Count Dracula, Countess Dracula, become a vampire. Just avoid the sun like the pest. Absolutely avoid it. It's not always easy in certain countries, especially tropical countries. However, try your best to avoid it. It is highly advisable to avoid direct sun exposure up to 2 months after the treatment and apply sunscreen regardless. How can I avoid scarring after syringoma removal? For the vast majority of people who have syringoma, it is possible to remove these lesions without having any scar left because they grow on the upper part of the skin, epidermis. If the treatment has been carried out appropriately and you are not prone to developing keloids and hypertrophic scars, then it is up to you to avoid infections during the recovery period or the healing period following the cosmetic treatment. The risks of infections are generally low. However, also resist the temptation to pick the scabs and let them fall by themselves. How much does syringoma removal cost? Costs vary between country to country. The costs for this type of cosmetic procedure are similar in Europe and the US. Costs also depend on the method used for removal. The cost of surgical excision can start from $700 US. However, these low prices are very rare. The average price in the US is in the region of $2,000 for syringoma removal on both eyes. The US has one of the highest priced cosmetic care system in the world. Therefore, the treatment of syringoma can cost considerably less in other countries. Nowadays, this was written, I think, in 2015. Nowadays, things may be different because now there's far more devices, especially electroporation devices, that are easily accessible. So very likely the cost has gone down. And it has gone down in the UK as well. Syringoma removal is rarely covered by any healthcare system in the world because it is considered a cosmetic treatment. Specialized formulated chemical peels, like the syrin remover, cost between $300 and $400 US, and it does remove the syringoma without causing any scarring. Now, yes, that's pretty much it. Basically, the other thing to say is that if you want to go to the cheapest possible option, you've got TCA, which you can buy for $10, 50% concentration above, or maybe $20, depends on where you buy it from. And the most expensive option is lasers. You pay £2,000 per $2,000 per session. It really depends what clinic and where. So this is the range that we're talking about, from $10 to $2,000 to achieve the exact same result. Again, it depends what treatment you choose, but the result is the same. I'm black. Will syringoma removal leave white patches or scarring? Generally, black and Asian skin types are more delicate than Caucasian skin types. However, if syringoma removal is carried out with the right precautions, the likelihood of scarring are similar to any other skin type. Every time syringomas are removed by using specialized cosmetic peels, lasers, electrofulguration, or other means, the area treated is usually depigmented without the natural brownish color of the surrounding skin. Depigmentation after syringoma removal also occur to Caucasian skin types. I have experienced swelling 2 to 3 days after the treatment. Is that normal? And actually it is. Yes, it is. You can actually get swelling after electrical arcing treatment to remove syringoma, laser treatments, and TCA. Swelling is normal after removal by using TCA. Swelling may not develop with other types of cosmetic peels industry. Laser removal, because the lesions have been burned off, and swelling is a normal reaction after the use of this type of cosmetic equipment. Electrofulguration, electrodesiccation, because the lesions have been burned off, and swelling is a normal reaction after the use of this type of cosmetic equipment. This type of swelling after the use of TCA or cosmetic superficial burn normally starts developing the day following the cosmetic treatment and peaks on the second day. The swelling lasts only 3 to 4 days and will subside by itself. Generally, no swelling will develop after other types of cosmetic treatments for syringoma removal. In very rare cases, swelling develops after the use of cosmetic peels due to a simple allergic reaction. This allergic reaction normally lasts 3 to 4 days and go away by themselves. If you are unsure, consult your doctor. If I decide to have my syringoma surgically excised, how many treatments should I undergo? Notwithstanding the size and thickness of the syringoma, one treatment will usually suffice to get rid of those unwanted benign lesions, sometimes due to syringoma recurrence. The area treated by using cosmetic peels after laser treatment by using cosmetic peels smooth the area. Now, I think there's this particular thing can be a bit ambiguous because a surgical excision is not actually used, and we answer the question in not the perfect way. I think it's actually a bit incorrect because we're actually talking about the laser treatment instead of excision. If I decide to have my syringoma surgically excised, will I need anesthetic? Some new surgical lasers operate at particular wavelengths which do not transfer enough heat to the surrounding healthy skin to cause severe pain during the cosmetic treatment. However, with most conventional cosmetic lasers, electrofulguration equipment, excision using the scalpel, the pain caused by during the syringoma excision removal could be so severe that local topical anesthetic becomes strictly necessary. Essentially, topical anesthetics at least are always recommended. Generally, when removing syringomas by using cosmetic peels or cryotherapy, the use of numbing creams or topical anesthetics are not required. because these procedures can cause some discomfort, but they are not generally painful as such. If I decide to use a PO to have my syringoma removed, how many treatments will I need? This is much dependent on the type of PO used, size, and especially the thickness of the syringoma. For very thick syringomas, you may require up to 2 to 3 treatments. However, the higher the PO concentrations, the lower the sessions will be required. And also, the same PO, if you're actually using, say for example, a syringe remover, if you use it for longer, if you apply it for longer time, then you'll require less applications. Conversely, if you apply it for shorter period of times, then you'll require more applications in order to remove your syringoma and basically get your desired effects. If you're using the syringe remover, one kit will be enough to treat 10 people. In very mild cases of syringoma, only 1 to 2 treatments can remove syringoma. If syringoma removal covered by my insurance in the US, syringoma removal is considered to be a cosmetic procedure by the wider scientific community. Therefore, it will be covered by your insurance only if your insurance covers cosmetic treatments. Normally, standard health insurers do not cover this type of cosmetic treatment. Is syringoma removal covered by the NHS in the UK? To a certain extent, it is covered It was covered before 2008, however, it is not covered now. This is partly to the NHS budget cuts. Syringoma is a benign skin lesion, therefore it can be left untreated without causing any harm to the individual. For this reason, in the UK, this type of procedure is considered to be cosmetic, non-medical, and hence only available in private cosmetic clinics. And also is also available on your doorstep if you buy TCA online cheaply. The doctor told me that syringoma cannot be cured. Is that true? Oh yes, it is true. Technically it is true because syringoma is not considered a disease. Syringomas are benign tumors of the sweat duct which grow on the epidermis and also inside the dermis. Even if syringoma were classed as a disease, there are not medical cures available, and that's very true as well. This means that they will not go away by taking any medicines or drugs. The only solution is removal by using any of the cosmetic methods available. However, syringoma can appear after removal. What are the risks of infection? Generally, risks of infections are relatively low if they increase if you do not follow the aftercare suggested by your beauty therapist or you engage in strenuous activities soon after a cosmetic treatment. The normal aftercare suggested is normal antibacterial cream to be used for a week until the scabs are formed. Always ask your beauty therapist for advice before having anything, before trying anything yourself. Follow such advice to the letter to be on the safe side. What is the difference between skin depigmentation and scarring? Depigmentation occurs every time a wound heals. This is due to the lack of melanin in the skin formed after the wound has healed. The texture of the new skin is very similar to the rest of the skin. The newer skin is pinker in color due to the lack of melanin. The depigmentation will fade away after normal sun exposure. Therefore, the main difference between a scar and a skin depigmentation is that a scar will be visible after years and its texture is different in the normal skin. Skin depigmentation will fade away within 3 to 4 months. What is the downtime? The downtime is minimal after this type of syringoma removal procedures. Usually you can resume your normal office activities straight away after the cosmetic procedure. They might be laser, electrofulguration, TCA, whatever procedure you might go for. If your job involves strenuous activities, it is advisable to resume work after the area has completely recovered from the procedure, namely after the scabs are formed already. This is recommended in order to minimize the risks of infections during the recovery period. Remember that infections could lead to scarring. Very, very rare infections to develop after syringoma removal of any types, either using electroporation, lasers, or chemical peels, is extremely rare. We haven't heard of those infections anyway so far. The recovery period is usually a week in general. You can consider you have recovered once the scab have fallen off by themselves, and this usually happens 1 week after a cosmetic treatment, provided that there have not been any infections. Will I be left with scars after being treated for syringoma removal with surgical excision? I think when we say surgical excision here, we refer to lasers and electrical arcing as well. Scars formations are very much dependent on the type of equipment used, the level of precision of the equipment used, the ability of the user. Generally, scars are likely after excision using a scalpel. That's very true. However, excision using a scalpel is nowadays extremely rare because we've got many other methods to remove syringoma. It's a very, very old-fashioned method. Scars occur when the area treated have become infected or the dermis has been damaged during the excision. Minor excision using a conventional surgical scalpel is the procedure most likely to cause scars, and it is true. In the majority of cases, treated with surgical cosmetic lasers, hyfricator, or electrocautery units used for gradation mode, no scars are usually left after healing. The few cases of scarring reported to date have been due to lasers misuse, which caused considerable damage to the dermis, subsequent infections of the part after excision. Therefore, no makeup must be worn after any of these procedures to avoid unnecessary complications. Will I get skin depigmentation after syringoma removal? Skin depigmentation is always a constant occurrence of syringoma treatment and removal. Depigmentation occurs every time the skin has healed after surgical excision. The use of customized peels is the least innovative. The use of customized peels is the least invasive treatment available, and the degree of depigmentation is very low compared to the pigmentation caused by surgical excision. The depigmentation will not last very long. Like after any other type of wounds, it takes in the region of 3 to 4 months for the new skin to blend in with the rest. Normal sun exposure will accelerate the process. Remember, sun exposure can actually lead to hyperpigmentation as well. Will my syringoma recur after treatment? Sometimes syringoma recur after the cosmetic treatment. It does not matter what type of cosmetic procedure you undergo. Syringoma can return even if you use lasers, electroporations, or other types of treatments. This is because syringomas are familial, therefore, even if removed completely, they can recur. In case syringoma recur, further cosmetic treatment may be required. Not much can be done to avoid recurrence, and in some cases, the syringomas grow back almost as soon as they are removed. Now, after this last section was written in 2015, we know much more now. So basically, in 10% of the cases, if you do it properly, they will recur 3 to 4 months after the treatment if they want to come back on their own accord, the syringoma. However, if they recur just 10 days or 2 weeks after treatment, very likely it's just the cosmetic procedure didn't actually go deep enough to remove the syringoma completely, so therefore they reappear on the surface. And that's very normal, and all you've got to do is just repeat the process. It's quite a pain in the backside if you want to repeat a laser treatment which has cost you $1,000 or $2,000. However, if you use a cosmetic peel, it's not a problem. You can actually repeat the treatment 2 to 3 weeks after the previous application. So hopefully this answered all these questions, and if you've got more questions, feel free to get in touch with us. We've got a lot more information on syringomaremoval.com, so feel free to use the website. But if you cannot find the information you're looking for, feel free to get in touch.